Um, Last thing I wanted to kind of discuss today, the Oscars. Oscars were back in a big way. We even had one of our writers kind of write a piece speaking to that fact, how the Oscars seem to have come back in full force after years of decline, and people kind of turn their back on the award show as a format and as a respected kind of entity in film. People weren't tuning in. People didn't care. People weren't watching. But from all accounts, this year was a massive success. And it seemed like one that most people across the board agreed with, which is very rare to see with the Oscars, because there's always a ton of controversy. And while there's certainly controversy in this year's as well, it was far less than any of the years. And for the most part, it went off without a hitch. Most part. And I actually didn't catch most of it. I only caught bits and pieces and obviously saw who the major winners were. But we can definitely go back and kind of watch some of that. But like I said, from all accounts, from everything we've heard on social media, from our comments, from people like discussing, this was a hit. So it's dope to see the Oscars kind of getting back into form, because as much as people want to ask, like, are these award shows still needed? Maybe not needed, but they're nice to have. And they're nice that they present this genre, this subset of culture that we love so much, as in this like prestigious way. So it's dope to see that's kind of come back. So I don't really know all the winners, so I definitely wanted to kind of go through and see some of the categories. Let's start with this one. Actor in leading role. I knew this was going to happen. I think for the most part, this was written amongst the stars a year ago, at the least, since The Whale was kind of hitting the indie film circuit. People were raving and talking about Brendan Fraser and how he's having this comeback, and how this is a movie that's going to propel him back into, the spotlight, back into the conversation of being an actor. And I've seen it. I've seen The Whale myself. While I didn't like love the movie itself, and I thought it was kind of like too cynical, almost too mean-spirited, but that's a conversation for another day. I do think his acting was phenomenal. A+. Performance was great. The emotions he was able to display, the feelings he was able to convey to the audience, where you feel like you can feel and put yourself in the situation that he's in, even if you are nowhere near that type of situation. You can literally put yourself in his shoes and feel the pain, feel the embarrassment, feel everything that he's kind of going through. And that's the testament to the absolutely incredible performance that Brendan Fraser was able to put out in The Whale. And I truly hope that he gets more roles, because I've always thought he was one of the more underrated actors out there, and his range has been impressive over the years. So for me, this was a much deserved win. And yeah, I think the others were pretty good, but I don't think they could top his performance here. It was crazy. Next was actor in a supporting role. Another comeback story. Kiwoo Quan. I hope I'm saying his name right, but he's dated. He's dated from The Goonies, and he's Short Round from Indiana Jones. He was always like that one guy that you'd always think back. Like, I would always think every year or so, every 2 years, just the random thought in my head would pop up like, damn, whatever happened to Data? Where is he now? Why haven't I seen him in the new movies? I have loved him so much when I was a kid. I still love him today when I go watch those movies. Why can't we get more of them? And boom, the universe answered, and we got everything, everywhere, all at once. And in terms of like supporting actors, this one was kind of hard for me to say, because performance wise, it was great, phenomenal. I don't I think he had some of the most emotional, important moments of this movie. I don't think he had the most to say from a character's perspective, but when you add in all the story, all the physical performance, all the ways he can convey emotion without saying much, he was well deserving this award. And while I think there were definitely other people that could have easily won this award as well, I think seeing him win this after so many years of being dejected and almost giving up, and seeing him get this it felt like you won this as well. So it was super dope to see him get this. And I truly hope that, once again, like Brendan Fraser, that people take notice and put him in more things, because he was such a big part of my childhood, a lot of people's childhoods. And he can act. He can act. Actress in the leading role, Michelle Yeoh, for me, no brainer, no questions. She should have got this award. She should have got a few of these awards, quite honestly, like for some of her performances in her career in movies and films. And to see her finally get that, like, this year has kind of been just like a year for artists and actors who culturally have done so much for us. From a social aspect, people recognize and admire and kind of resonate with on such a deep level, but never really got that kind of critical recognition and love and acclaim. Finally kind of get that critical recognition and love and acclaim. And it was dope to see. It was definitely heartwarming. And again, this was one that was pretty much a no-brainer. From her physical performance and doing stunt work, her emotional performance, it was just kind of a tour de force. They allowed her to do anything and everything in this movie, and she delivered on every aspect of it. So for me, absolutely deserved this. No questions asked. Even though I also do think Michelle Williams put in a strong case for herself. All right, so this was probably the first or the most controversial aspect of the show. Jamie Lee Curtis winning actress in a supporting role over Angela Bassett in Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. Again, I'm extremely happy and excited that Jamie Lee Curtis, who is also like such a big part of a lot of people's childhoods and early memories and movies and films, particularly for like the Halloween series and being the final girl, like she's the final girl in horror movies, to kind of see that come full circle and be recognized as like this serious critical actor and get that award is super dope. And I love her for that, and I'm like very excited that she won. But I also don't think she deserved it over Angela Bassett or even over her own castmate Stephanie Sue. Is that how you say it? Stephanie Sue, who I think had to juggle and do a lot more in the movie that she's in than she did. I think that she gave a strong performance for what they asked for her, but I don't really think they asked for her to do that much emotionally, that much like actor work. She gave great performances physically, but like in terms of performance and emotional depth, it should have went to Stephanie or to Angela. I don't really think you could have given it to anywhere. Well, maybe Hong Chau as well because she was super good in that as well. But like for me, a lot of conversation obviously is for Angela Bassett not getting her just dues as well. Another year getting overlooked, even though she gave such a strong central performance to a $1 billion movie and franchise, and in a kind of genre that isn't necessarily known for like these big emotional beats and performances. She gave that movie so much emotion and heart, and the monologue was honestly some of the best parts and moments of that movie. And she almost single-handedly carried that movie for a lot of people. So I definitely understand why people are mad about that, and I wouldn't have been mad to see her get that award. But for me, It was between her and Stephanie. I don't think Jamie Lee should have got that, but I am still happy that the final girl got this critical award. Next was animated feature film. And I love Guillermo. Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors of all time. I think the way he presents monsters and his kind of costume work and his genre work alone is untouchable in terms of filmmakers. I don't think Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio should have won over Puss in Boots. I mean, just straight up. I think Puss in Boots, while it is a much easier film in terms of filming and bringing to life, because it's not claymation, it's not shot by shot, it's all that. It's digital, it's 3D animation, which is people have a firm grasp on now these days. And Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is insane and absolutely impressive for the amount of work that went to doing this and doing a stop motion claymation movie in the year 2022, which is crazy. I do think movie wise, emotional wise, Puss in Boots Last Wish was just better. It was just better. Honestly, it was the best animated movie of the film. It was one of the better movies of the year overall. I think it was a film that I didn't really have much expectations for. I think I'm not alone in saying that. I didn't expect the emotional depths that it could hit, that it did hit. And I think it should have got that award. Cinematography, absolutely no brainer. All Quiet on the Western Front was one of the most visually stunning, impressive movies all year. The amount of work that went into that and bringing that to life, insane. So, no question there. Easy one. Costume design. This is Ruth Carter's second win for Black Panther. She won for the first one as well. And while I don't think this was quite as impressive as the first go around, especially how awe-inspiring it was when you first kind of got to see Wakanda and everything that came with it, I think it was a solid job, and I'm not really mad at it. I can't really compare it to some other movies. Directing, I think this was an absolute no-brainer, because the amount of work and direction and bringing all of these crazy disparate parts together to form like a somewhat mostly cohesive whole, insane. The amount of work on this was sheerly like, it had to be like mind breaking, because the amount of effects that you had to juggle with the emotion, with the moments, like with all the like everything had to hit at the right time, like the amount of direction that this took to bring to life, no brainer. They should have won, and they did. I can't really speak to documentary features because I didn't really watch that many last year for the first time. Film editing, like I said, there's very few movies as wild as Everything Everywhere All at Once, and to have to edit that, I couldn't even imagine where to start, because there's just so much going on. The fact that they were able to almost seamlessly edit and put this together is insane. So I'm not mad there either. International feature film, no question for me as well. All Quiet on the Western Front, one of the best movies to come out last year. Makeup and hairstyling, sure, why not? I guess, it's like he's in a fat suit. You can't really tell that he's in a fat suit, so that was dope. Original score, not mad at that. They definitely brought the emotion for All Quiet on the Western Front. Original song. See, I haven't seen Triple R. I know it's been much. It's a movie I need to see because a lot of people have been talking about it, and I definitely want to kind of check that out at some point. Best Picture. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? Like, people been talking about it for the past year, 2 years, and the amount of like goodwill and buzz it's it's built up since it came out has been insane, and it would have been a shock if it didn't win. So this was like a no-brainer for me. Sound, yeah, for me it was either Top Gun or All Quiet on Western Front. There's just something about war movies and sound and kind of capturing everything that's going on and bringing it directly to you, like in your face, is insane. And Top Gun for me was one of the best cinematic experience I've had in at least 5 years. Insane. Visual effects, Avatar: The Way of Water, no brainer. That movie was stunning. Adapted screenplay. I haven't seen Women Talking. I never saw Women Talking, so can't really say. Original screenplay. Yeah, I mean, they did a whole multiverse movie and had nothing to do with Marvel or superheroes. So yeah, so that was kind of like the winners of the night with the Oscars. And overall, like I said, that while there was a couple controversial moments, particularly with like Best Supporting Actress, I think on the whole they got it right 95% of the way. I feel like they got it right. The movies that won deserved to win. And even if there was a question of should have this one or this one, I think you couldn't have gone wrong either way in most parts. So kudos to them. They got it right. They actually got it right this year. The movies that should have won. And the ones that didn't, they still got awards in the categories that they should have got. And this is an extremely rare, uncommon thing to see with the Oscars. There's always like a few massive misses from the Oscars. And this year they actually did things generally the right way, with the right love and attention and respect given to movies that aren't just typical Oscar bait films and more representative of what people actually watched. So that's dope. So shout out to the Academy for that. Yeah, not too mad at it. Let's go to, I did want to kind of watch some of the acceptance speeches. Never got to see those. Also, I heard Jamie Lee, what's his name? Jimmy Kimmel. I heard Jimmy Kimmel actually did a pretty good job. So let's watch that.